Hey everybody, welcome to another guitar lesson. My name is Sparky Parker, here with another dang old lesson. I'm going to show you some basic music theory knowledge for playing lead guitar, country lead guitar. And I'm going to show you all the tips and tricks that I wish I knew when I was starting out, and all the stuff that I learned over the years through trial and error. And hopefully fast forward to you playing some country solos, some scorching licks, some chicken picking. Thanks again for joining me. Let's get started. We're in the key of C major today. Alright, so most country music that you hear is in a major key. And anytime you're playing solos or melodies, typically you're going to be wanting to play whatever scale fits to whatever chord you're on, okay? Or chord progression that you're playing. So the obvious choice for a C major chord would be a C major scale. Alright, so that would be like this: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Alright, so over our C major, that's going to work pretty well in general. But there's some other tricks and stuff we can add to that to get a real country twang, and I'll show you what those are. So check it out. Instead of doing just the C major scale, which if we think in terms of intervals, okay, I'll put this on the screen, but the C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, you can also break it down by the intervals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, and I won't get into what all the numbers mean exactly, but basically those numbers are telling us how far apart to space each note of our scale. Alright, so our B is our 7th interval of the scale. Now if we change that B to a B flat or a flatted 7th, that'll sound like this. Alright, so we got that B flat in there instead of the B. Alright, so that would also fit really good over a C 7th chord, also known as a C dominant 7th, which has that flat 7 note in it as well. And that chord itself gives us that kind of country twang as well. Alright? So I'm just kind of adding those little B flats to my major scale as I go up the neck. Alright? Now, that's one major factor as far as music theory goes on country lead guitar. Alright? Let's go to the next big factor that you can add into your solos, and that's going from, we talked about these intervals, we're going from the flatted third to the third instead of just hitting the third. Alright, so again, if we're in the key of C, our third is an E. So if we're adding our flat third to that, we're adding an E flat. And usually what you hear is going from the flat third into a third. Alright, in that order. So you're always going like something like this. If I go sliding into that third from the flat third, and I'll keep going up the scale, C flat, up to C, and now I can start over. C, D, E flat to E, and then you keep going on up your scale. Alright, so let me hit a couple of those little flat third into thirds in different places. So it'd be like a, alright, so 3 little spots where I kind of slid into or hammered on to that major third from the flat third. Now you can always do that in different ways. You can do a hammer on to the major third like this. There's my E flat to E. Hammer on or slide, or you can bend to it. So that's me bending into it, or I'll do it down here. There's my E flat, and there's my E. I'm just doing a half a step bend, going down to the C note. Alright, so that'll get you a nice country twang to your solos. Let's go to another really important factor on playing country lead guitar, and that's plucking some strings as you're picking. So you might do some picking and plucking at the same time, or alternate between the two as well. So like a lot of times I'll use my middle finger to pluck some strings. Now getting that pluck is really important, and you're not just striking the string with your middle finger, you're plucking it. You're kind of like spanking it against the neck. Alright, so getting that little spank of the string, pulling that string, yanking it, gets you that chicken picking tone. Alright? Let's get to another really important factor. When I'm thinking about playing country music, soloing, I'm always imagining the different positions of my, for instance, my C chord. The different places where I can play that C chord is going to inform me on different places I can use to play lead. Okay, so oftentimes you hear the caged system, which is C, A, G, E, D. Now all that really is playing different shapes of the same chord in different places of the neck. So you're using these shapes that you probably already know, such as an open C chord, or a bar chord, an A-shaped bar chord, right? At the 3rd fret, that's another C chord. Alright, and there's a C right here, and that's in the E shape. And then there's another C right here, that's in the D shape. And then there's a G shape, which I don't use that often, but that's there. Okay, so if I'm visualizing these different shapes, that can inform me on what to play on my solo, and oftentimes I'll use those shapes to play double note runs on my solo. So oftentimes you'll hear something like this. Alright, or like stuff like that. Or like so I'm kind of using all these shapes to play double notes or double stops. Okay, so let's break that down further. So in case I'm rambling and you're not picking up what I'm putting down, let me explain this a little bit better. But you're playing an E-shaped bar chord at the 8th fret, and if I pick out, let's say I pick out the 3rd string and the 1st string out of there, I got this. Okay, got the 9th fret and the 8th fret. Now if I want to slide from this shaped chord into this shaped chord, this D-shaped chord, I can go like this. I'm kind of like walking into this chord and back down. So I'm going from the E shape to the D shape. Now you can also go from the E shape, let's say, to the A shape. So oftentimes I'll do like a, I'm going the 3rd string and the 2nd string of this chord, walking it down, and then I'm into there, which is part of this bar chord. And that's another C. And now let's say I want to go from this A-shaped bar chord into just the regular open C chord form. I could go like this. Alright, so that's like 5th fret, 3rd fret, walking it down, and then into 1 and 0 there. Alright, so just having the visualization of those chords can help you with your solo and make some cool little licks. Alright, let's talk about one more trick that you can use. This is like a shortcut for a lot of guitar players to get into playing country music, lead guitar, and that is using your blues scale to play major scale licks. Okay, so again, we're in a major key. Now if I want to use this pentatonic scale that pretty much every guitar player learns as their first scale, that would be like, let's say I'm doing a pentatonic scale in the key of A. That would be 5/8, 5/7, 5/7, 5/7, 5/8, 5/8. Now if I play that in this key of A minor on the 5th fret, those are all the same notes as the C major. It just happens that they're all the same notes. Okay? Now, if you always do this little subtraction trick, then you can do this in any key you want to. Okay? So, if I'm in the key of C, if I subtract 3 frets, I'm on this 8th fret, if I subtract 3 frets, then I get to the 5th fret, and that's where I play my pentatonic scale, on the 5th fret. Alright, so I'm using this little bar chord to kind of tell me what scale to play. Okay, so let's say if we're in the key of D, for instance. My D bar chord is right here, and if I subtract 3 frets, I'm down to the 7th fret. And if I just play that pentatonic scale that everybody knows so well over that D major chord, it's going to sound great. Alright? Alright, I may have added a couple extra notes in there, but don't worry about that. For now, just visualize this little trick that you can use. Now, one thing that you can add to advance this a little bit and get a little bit more country twang out of it is to add in that flatted 7th. So, if we're in the key of C like we were in earlier, okay, C. If I add in that flatted 7th, which is a B flat, then I can use that to modify my pentatonic scale and make it sound just a little bit more country. Alright, so that would be like this: 8th fret, 6th fret, 5th fret, 8, 5, 7, 5. Here's another B flat, 8th fret, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 6, 5. Okay? So, if you know your blues scale up and down the neck, just add in that, for instance, that B flat in this particular key, and then you got pretty much a pretty good start on a nice country solo. Okay? Alright, I hope that made sense for you. I hope I didn't ramble on too much. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments and I'll try to get to them. And thanks again for watching the video. Be sure to like and subscribe, support the channel, and check me out on social media and my websites, all that good stuff. Have a great one. Thanks.